chocolate in space.
I'm not mad at this. Hey everyone, it's Karen Mahorn, aka The Blurred Girl, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and a very special interview that I'm super excited to bring you, especially if you are a fan of Star Trek Discovery on CBS All Access. My guest today is actor David Ajala, who's playing Book, aka Cleveland Booker, a new character on the show that's introduced in season 3. Now, CBS was nice enough to give me the sneak peek at Book from episode 1. Check it out.
Little busy here, Cosmo. So what? It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to itself. Open your damn mind.
Warning, space-time anomaly detected.
No!
Increase power to reverse thrusters and switch to manual altitude control!
Unable to comply.
Initiate heat shield!
Emergency heat shield initiated. Fatal impact imminent. Propulsion systems unresponsive.
Full system reboot!
Rebooting. 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 Reboot complete.
Increase power to reverse thrusters and activate impact shield!
Poor Michael. It seems like no matter what time period she's in, she's still crashing into something. I've seen the first few episodes, and even though Michael and Book's relationship gets off to a bit of a rocky start, trust me, they get much closer. If David looks and sounds familiar, that's because he not only starred as Manchester Black on Supergirl, but he also played the elusive Captain Roy Eros on Sci-Fi's Night Flyers. And he was on a previous episode of the Blurred Girl podcast, cooking dinner for some reason. Now, in this interview, we talk about what it was like joining such a legendary franchise and how even though the show was shot before the tragic pandemic and this historic and horrific summer we've had, the show is really relevant. Plus, he dishes on what goes on behind the scenes of the show, and I have more clips to share. So stick around to the end so that you don't miss anything. Up next, my interview with Star Trek Discovery star, David Ajala. David, the last time I saw you face-to-face was New York Comic-Con almost exactly a year ago.
That's wild.
Isn't it? Because it feels like 18 years ago.
Wild. That is wild.
So I have to ask, how are you? Since then, back then you were actually talking to me about playing Manchester Black, bringing that to a close. Yeah. And then you were standing there looking at your outfit from Star Trek Discovery.
That's right. Because they had a whole setup for that, which was so awesome for the Star Trek universe. And I remember we had a little tour around, and then we had a little look at the costumes.
Yes, and we ran around New York Comic Con, and I did not know that you did not let your handlers know. And it's like all of a sudden I was responsible. That was terrifying.
You were so smooth with it, though. You felt like my handler, so it just felt easy. It felt
I
very
was like,
familiar.
how many people at CBS can I text right now?
That was the funniest thing. And then I remember Jen from CBS at the end was like, David, what are you doing here?
Yeah, she was like, who are you and where did you go?
We need to get you in a cab straight to your hotel so you don't miss your flight.
Exactly. But
That was
since
so much
then,
fun.
like that, it's like I said, it seems like 15 years ago. It
Yeah.
seems like probably even longer than that you shot your first episodes for Discovery.
Yeah.
Between then and now, how are you and how are you doing out there in London?
In good old London. Well, one thing I have to say is we finished wrapping the season at the end of February. We wrapped literally 10 days before we all went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Huge blessing in a very selfish way that we were able to get to complete the season. And I just remember it being very surreal, having, come off the back of doing this amazing show and, completing the season and the season finale and just being wonderfully exhausting. Then here we are back in the real world, and then we're all on standstill. And everyone's confined to being in their homes, and there's this weird energy around because we're all trying to get to grips with understanding this pandemic. This time has really allowed me to quantify my gratitude. I'll say that for sure. And it's something I've always been aware of, and I'd like to think that I am someone who is thankful for what he has, but now more than ever, it's really allowed me to quantify my gratitude. And there's been some really weird parallels between Star Trek Discovery Season 3 and what's happening in the world right now.
Really? I mean, the show is
very
already
profound.
The show is already groundbreaking because
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
in so many ways, not just Sonequa Martin-Green's involvement as Michael Burnham, but also the the diverse cast of characters. And then even if we look at Picard and what is to be human, the rights of individuals, what is an individual, who gets to speak for those individuals, like there's these themes. And it's funny because I hear a lot of people like, politics shouldn't be in my science fiction. I'm like, have you ever watched Star Trek?
Yeah.
Ever.
Like, yeah. How can you separate the two?
Now, without spoiling season 3, can you give us an idea of some of those themes, those parallel themes that you were just
for sure. One is, so in the recent trailer, Michael Burnham asks Cleveland Booker, what's the burn? And the burn is a very significant moment which has happened. And it completely changed the landscape of multiple galaxies.
We believe in ghosts.
What does that mean?
A badge on your shirt. Sometimes you see a guy with one of those badges getting himself all worked up about the Federation. The old days. True believers. Can't handle that it's gone.
The Federation is gone. That's impossible. What happened?
Beats me.
What happened?
Collapsed, I guess. It was a long time ago. After the burn.
What's the burn?
The burn has such weird, disconcerting parallels to COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
It's even talking about it now is wild.
Yeah.
And no one could ever have anticipated that. Later on in the season, there is one episode which I knew it was powerful, but I didn't understand why it was so powerful. And then when I thought back on the entire season and that specific episode, the parallels and connectivity to the Black Lives Matter movement really touched me.
Wow.
And I don't think it was intentionally written like that. It just wasn't. But then I go back in my mind and I see it, and it is exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't have been unless somebody does have a time traveling device like Michael Burnham and has seen this, in which case I am very upset at them because they could have told us something.
Right?
A warning would have been
A
nice.
little heads up or something.
Right.
You know?
As I sip tea from my anarchist state. Yes. Yes.
I love how you're sipping tea.
I have to. Well, it's really funny. It's coffee in the morning, but it's always tea in the afternoon. My mother's from Bermuda. It's a British-owned colony, and had tea and toast in the afternoon. And that's how I was raised.
Tea and toast. Can't go wrong. Next time you should try tea and crumpet. That's also good.
But see, you can't get a good crumpet in anarchy.
Yeah. I was thinking that actually before I suggested it. Yeah, stick to tea and toast. That's a sure bet.
It's very strange, this parallel universe, like, and it's hard because right now I think everything that we do, we're looking at reality versus fiction, and what is basically really putting its mark on the other. And for you, coming into a franchise that actually has this long legacy, but now in a season that is going in a different direction, because, correct me if I'm wrong, because we are now in this future is outside of Star Trek, The Next Generation, Voyager, even Picard. It's not in the same necessarily
right.
universe, right?
Yeah.
So was that freeing for you a little bit? Were you like, oh God, the Trek fans, let me make sure I have all of it right. And then, or do you not have to worry about that?
I mean, there's two ways of answering that. First and foremost, I think it creates so much room for exploration and discovery, which is what Star Trek is all about. But in saying that, it's almost like you're given so much freedom as a writer. And, hats off to Michelle Paradise and Alex Kurtzman, who are the showrunners on Star Trek Discovery, because now they're operating outside of canon. So you have to make the executive decisions to figure out what you're going to hold on to, the touchstones of what makes Star Trek, what elements you're going to keep, and then what elements you're going to reinvent or recreate. So it's always a juggling act of trying to find the sweet balance. But I think the overall arcing theme should always be about optimism and the power in working together as a team.
Now, you as the artist and the art that is your work, do you approach your roles, whether or not it's Star Trek or any other project that you have, a little bit differently? Are you looking at scripts a little bit differently based on what's going on in reality?
No one has ever asked me that, but you're about to get a very good answer. When I received the phone call, 2 days before receiving the phone call from the guys on Star Trek about, my manager called me and said the guys on Star Trek wanted to speak to you about this new character. Prior to that, this role came up for this TV series. And I read the script, I liked the people who were involved, but the reason why I turned it down is because it was something that I felt I had already done, and I didn't want to repeat myself. So I kind of kept my options open. And then a few days later, I got a phone call from Star Trek. And at the time, I didn't understand or see how I would fit within that world of Starfleet. Because I think David, as the artist, as the resident on planet Earth, kind of felt a bit rebellious. I didn't really want to conform to things. I don't know what it was. I just felt a bit, if everyone's going right, I'm going to the left, purposefully. So when they pitched this idea about this character and they described his arc and who he is, it just felt like the right gig for me to do. Because they pitched a character that was so unfamiliar to myself, but then so selfless in the most wonderful way, and who was guided by a real sense of a good moral compass. It just felt very right. So they gave me some sides of the script. I went away, did some work, sent through my tapes, and they said yes. They said yes because I knew it was going to be me. And not because I just wanted the gig because it would be cool. No. It's so much more deeper than that, So going back to your question, I often try and put myself in a position when I'm taking on board a character. To inhabit the life of this character, it has to come from a place of necessity. That's where I try and operate from, because I just believe you're able to bring the character to life in a way that people will really, really connect with.
So tell me a little bit more about Cleveland Booker. And we've heard what's different. What is similar? What is it that makes you go, oh, I can't wait for them to see this character. I cannot wait for them to hear the lines like that he says. What is it? What excites you about Cleveland?
What excites me is that we're looking at Starfleet. Starfleet is a wonderful team of individuals who are encouraged and championed to embrace their curiosity and championed to embrace their intellect. They all wear the same uniform and have the same common goal. Cleveland Booker doesn't wear a uniform. He is the master of his own fate, and getting to operate within Starfleet and ruffle feathers just because of who he is and the energy that he has, and being able to break the rules without the repercussions, I don't know, I just found it very appealing.
Well, I don't know why you think this is not like you, Mr. I'm going to run around New York Comic Con and not tell anybody where I am. This sounds exactly like the David I know, but okay.
I don't know, it just felt really appealing just to be naughty. I think there's just something mischievous about me. And I learn it more and more when I connect with certain characters. Because prior to, I would never have known or never have been aware.
And I mean, we're all really, really excited to see this. And I wish you could tell me everything about this character, but I know you can't. Can you tell me in a non-spoilery way, where is the Federation? Is there a Federation in Discovery Season 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so it does exist.
Yes, it does.
But you cannot tell us in what fashion.
I can't explain what fashion, but it definitely does exist. And it's such a fulfilling moment when everyone is reunited. Even for Cleveland Booker, who's kind of anti, Starfleet and whatnot. I think it's a very profound, powerful moment.
Now, you had some, in the trailer, some lovely moments with Michael Burnham. And yes, and we got some lovely scenes of you, if I remember correctly, from Night Flyers. Are we going to see some more of this lovely black love on screen?
100.
Black love more black love
Absolutely.
in space. Like, you have become the poster child for black love in space.
That's amazing. Chocolate in space.
I'm not mad at this.
Neither am I. No, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And I think it's great to be able to have that texture in this show. And especially for Michael Burnham, to have a character like Cleveland Booker, who, dare I say it, and I think it's quite wonderful, can connect with Michael Burnham on an invisible cultural level. I think there's something special about that, And I was really excited about being part of that union. And Sonequa Martin-Green is an absolute joy.
Now, was she an amazing mentor? Like, when you were on the set, giddy, oh my God, I'm on a Star Trek set. Was she yeah, let me tell you about catering. Let me tell you, was she a great mentor or a great handler?
Yeah, no, she absolutely. She Sonequa just has this really great way of being really open to keep everyone involved. She's consciously aware that you're only as strong as your weakest player in the team. Not to say that weakness is a bad thing, but she just really believes in empowering the people that she's working with. And as she gives out that energy, we give it right back to her. She is literally lightning in a bottle. That's Sonequa, and then she comes on the set and we all collaborate. We're all super excited about these ideas. We know what we're going to be filming. We know how epic the first episode is going to be, which is lit.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Almost. Oh, I almost.
Jeez. Oh my.
Initiating deactivation sequence.
Burnham to Discovery. Discovery, do you copy? Discovery, do you copy? Discovery, do you copy? Identify space-time location.
You have reached year 3188.
Computer. Life readings. Is there life here? Anywhere?
Multiple life signs detected.
Yes! Ah! Yes!
Have you and her and other cast members been able to talk and connect since you wrapped?
Yeah, we have actually. Alex Kurtzman set up a fortnightly Zoom cast meeting, which was wonderful. And we've been doing that since, I think, from March through until like last week. But every 2 weeks we meet up, all have a Zoom session, and we all just touch base and connect with each other. And it's been one of the most wonderful things to consistently happen, you know, and everyone's sharing their different stories. And I don't know, there was just something about sharing stories and how you're feeling with people who you admire and who you work with, who are like your mini family. And we were all our like support network during really challenging times, you know, and I'm forever grateful for that period of time.
And where, like, are you in London proper? Where are you? Are you?
I'm in the outskirts of London.
I don't need your house number. I'm just saying.
That's all good. I'm the outskirts of London. So I'm like,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the equivalent of New York. Maybe New Jersey,
Yeah.
suburbs.
Suburbs, sort of suburbs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just more space, more greenery.
Yeah, and I was gonna say more space. COVID is different when there's more space.
Yes.
But even some of the protests and things like that, I was just wondering how close you were to those, and you know, and physically whether or not you were out there, you knew people who were out there, and because everybody's purview of how they're moving through the world is a little bit different. It's like you said, it's a little bit slower, a little bit more considerate right now.
Yeah, which is special. It's one of the silver linings that's come out of this really terrible situation. And the world needs more empathy and kindness and patience. And it goes without saying, it's very unfortunate that it's come about through this way. But just to see the compassion that strangers have towards each other and consideration, I think is something that we should keep as much as possible. Really important. And I'm going to make the conscious effort of making sure that I'm also playing my part in just being a better person to strangers especially.
Isn't it interesting how, like, when you ask somebody like, hey, how are you? You kind of mean it now.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. That's happened to me. Like, no, really, like, look me in my face. How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah. What is that? Because I can't even explain that.
I think
we've never had that before, whatever that is.
I think in times of stress, and I feel like in times of like we're being faced with our own mortality in a lot of these situations. I know I am. And I think that's what makes you stop, and we're now seeing people's humanity. I mean, this is New York. We don't talk to each other here.
Yeah.
Just walk by. And
London's the same.
You just
Exactly
now
the
there's
same.
people like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. How are you doing? Are you okay? Is your family okay?
Yeah.
And I feel like when people are saying it, they mean it.
Yeah. That's the difference.
I really, really want that to stay.
Me too. Absolutely.
But I think
Absolutely.
the concept of it being fleeting is also the other reason why I think a lot of people are doing that.
Right. Yeah. That was well explained, actually.
Speaking of fleeting, I'm curious. There's, you know, and I don't think Discovery does not have this problem, but there's been a lot of talk, obviously, since everything has come out this summer about more diversity in writers' rooms, more diversity in casting, more diversity in directing and things like that. And specifically more Black directors, more Black writers, not just more
Absolutely.
Black actors.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that sentiment is here to stay, or do you think it's sort of making its way around again, and if you get in on it now, great, and if you don't, maybe you'll catch it the next time it's popular?
I hope it's here to stay. I hope it's not a fad and not fleeting. I hope it's permanent. I hope people are genuinely inspired to actively want to do that. Because I don't think it's just about ticking the boxes, because ticking the boxes already limits the potential of really actively pursuing diversity. When I think about diversity in front of and behind the camera, the two most diverse sets I've been on in all the years I've been blessed to, do acting is Supergirl and Star Trek. Like, they have set a bar standard which I am very grateful for, but I won't hold other productions to the same standards, because it could be a bit disappointing. I have never felt so proud to be part of a production than I have with Supergirl and with Star Trek, just primarily based on the diversity in front of and behind the camera. It just makes a difference. I'm a city boy. I'm used to being surrounded by people from all kind of different walks of life. And it's why shouldn't the world that we live in be reflected on camera and behind camera? It's really important. I want to hear diverse stories from around the world. I don't want there to be one binary way of thinking. It should be multifaceted. I think we should all strive towards that.
Do you it's funny because I look at you as a role model also. Like, for me, when I was little, it was seeing Uhura in the back of the room, always listening, always knowing what was going on, and I'm like, see, but she's there and she's in it, and they have to talk to her because she's translating everything.
Yes.
So she was sort of my role model. Has it ever really hit you that there's a little boy somewhere that's going to be watching this, or a teenager that's going to be like, yo, you know what? I could do that. Not just act, but I could, this person inspires me to think outside the box. Did you think about that?
That's amazing. I'm happy I didn't think about it, because it would have overwhelmed me in the most wonderful way. Yeah. I said overwhelmed, isn't it? It is actually terrified. You completely heard my subtext. I remember shooting the first episode, and the director of the first episode is Tunde, wonderful Tunde, and I remember he pulled me aside. Oh man, it really blesses my spirit. It was so kind. He pulled me aside and he said, David, when I was growing up and watching Star Trek, I wish I had a character like you to emulate. And I looked at him and I was laughing. I thought, yeah, whatever. And he was dead serious. And that really touched me. That was really, really special. And I don't really have much to say about that. I'm deeply humbled. But I think it's important that we see representation. I think it's very important.
It's incredibly important. And for the people who are wondering, I believe you're talking about Olatunde Osunsami.
That's the one. Sorry, Tunde for short. Yeah, of course.
And Tunde, first of all, can
Good
we just
pronunciation, by the way. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I just shout out to Tunde for, I think, putting the most Nigerians in space.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. He's calling his cousins. He's calling everybody.
That was the funniest thing. On set one day, I remember our AD, what was he saying? There was a few of us on set, and there was also Gersha Phillips, who is our costume designer, the wonderful Gersha Phillips. And there was Oyin, and then a few others. We were all on set, we were all talking, and Tunde was there. And then Patrick, the AD, came along, and he was like, we were all talking about Nigeria and stuff. And he was like, well, you know what? Nigeria is definitely taking over, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm just saying, like, Nigeria is
joy. You said you bring joy.
Nigeria is straight representing.
Sorry, Sonequa did her DNA test, and she
really?
is, what was it, 75% Nigerian.
So basically, catering changed to Agusi and Fufu. That's what happened, right? That's like plantains. That's you laugh, but that's what I'm saying. You get back there for another season. Now you just gotta teach
Yo,
Sonequa. She's the star, so she can make all these recommendations.
game
Change
changer.
change.
Egusi, fufu. They won't know what hit them.
No.
We're gonna bring some extra seasoning into Star Trek.
Look.
Wow. Wow. Why not?
But it really sounds like you had an amazing experience, and we're all so excited to see what not just your character does, but everybody does season 3. But before I let you go, please tell us like one thing that you really want everybody to take away from this season.
Well, first and foremost, we're 1,000 years into the future, so we've departed from canon. But at the same time, we are very, very sensitive and mindful to make sure that we keep the essence of Star Trek throughout the entire season. Just because we're 1,000 years into the future doesn't mean that we have to abort what makes Star Trek Star Trek. I hope the fans of who have watched season 1 and 2, or for the people who are joining and season 3 is their introduction to Star Trek, I hope they come at it with a very open mind, keep their hearts open, their eyes open, and their sense of imagination open, because we've worked really, really hard to create something that hopefully should be profoundly moving and inspiring.
And then my final question is just a funny one. We need something behind the scenes. I need something behind the scenes that was hysterical. Like, I need to know who the practical Joker is. I need to know.
There's a few of us. There's a few of us. We have time. We have time. We've got a few more minutes. We've got time.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. We're good. I need to know who just couldn't help themselves, and they just time and time again just couldn't help themselves from driving everybody crazy.
Tunde is one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Frakes, Jonathan Frakes is another. Sonequa, Patrick, Ronnie, Mary, Doug, Wilson, Mr. Rapp, Anthony Rapp, Blue. Everyone has an element of just being mischievous in their own different ways. And one thing that I've noticed that we've started to do more and more is impressions of each other. That's the funniest thing.
Okay, well, you can't say that and not give me an impression.
I have to kind of be in the zone in the moment of it. I've got like Sonequa. I've got a couple for Sonequa. It's her walk sometimes when she interacts with people. You know, there's and the thing is, for those who are on set and who are living and breathing with us day in, day out, they will really pick up on the nuances of when we're doing impersonations of people. Sonequa's, I've got down pat. Sonequa's impersonation of myself is so funny. It makes me cringe.
Now,
it
this is like
funniest thing, and everyone laughs.
Reason 437 why I have to talk to Sonequa Martin-Green.
You have to, absolutely. And I don't know if it's down to me encouraging her about doing the British accent, but not only does she do the British accent, she also does my walk. And I remember when she first did it, and then some of the crew members saw, and they all started to laugh. Oh, man, that was humbling. That was humbling.
Now, is Sonequa the person that could make you break character the quickest? I mean, I know you weren't in scenes with everybody, but were there other people that also could make you break?
Mary Wiseman.
You're just laughing even thinking about it. Oh my God.
That girl is funny. She is funny. Everyone's got their little things that they do that just make me chuckle. But it's Mary and Sonequa. Those two, they get me often.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanking you. This was so sweet. I really enjoyed this. And I can't wait for you to see the season.
Yes, and I can't wait till they turn the planet back on and I can see you in person.
Yes.
I know, right? But I like I said, you are, I told you last year when I saw you, I was like, yeah, you know, Supergirl was cute, but you're about to blow up. Are you ready? And you
I think
didn't
so. And this is the thing. You asked me this before. I remember when we were in New York Comic Con and we were walking the floor, and I
was like, this is the last time you can do this with a
literally,
civilian.
that's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. And again, I enjoy just being slightly rebellious and just enjoying the luxury of, you know, being anonymous and embracing my anonymity. I will continue to go with the flow for sure.
Okay,
But,
CBS, if you're listening, if he goes missing again, it wasn't me.
Uh-oh.
It was
It
not
was
me.
absolutely you. CBS, you heard it from the horse's mouth. I'll brace myself for it. I will.
Yes, have your security, have your sunglasses.
You're hired. You're hired. I was just waiting for you to just offer it out.
Just put it out there, okay?
Yeah, thank you. You're hired. Done deal. Done deal. I'll send the paperwork to you.
Look, as long as I get some Agusi and Fufu out of it, I'm good. It's just, you know. Thanks for watching, folks. As always, please comment. In fact, tag a friend in the comments. Click that little bell so you don't miss any updates, and hit that subscribe button so that you can check out all the content on this channel. And be sure to watch Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and stay tuned for Season 2 of The Blerd Girl Live, which drops next week on OSNYC. I'll link to all of that in the show notes below. And don't forget to follow me on social. I'm The Blerd Girl basically everywhere. See you next time.
No.